Hey there guys, Chaos back again. Today I'm bringing you a video on a very popular weapon, a video about the Corinth, and it's one of my favorite weapons because it is a utility knife for everything you want to do in the game. And the reason why I say that is because there's a couple of ways to build this weapon, because there's a couple of ways to shoot this weapon. The first one is going to be a buckshot, which is your standard shotgun, and very similar to what you get out of the Heck, Vacor Heck, Tigris, things like that. And then the second alternate way to fire this is the airburst. The airburst is almost similar now to a Tsar, but more refined. There's no mode switching. Everything about it just works better. The buckshot goes farther. The airburst is, although it doesn't work in the same sense as what the Tsar does, the unique mechanic to the airburst is when you shoot it, it has to do a full travel of 20 meters before exploding. And if you use the gun at all, seen people use it, that big black cloud of smoke, that's what it generates when you do the airburst. And the reason why I'm bringing you this video is that there's a lot of builds on the internet that would focus on the buckshot. If you're going to focus this weapon on using the buckshot, you might as well use any other shotgun. The Vacor Heck with 8 shots is probably better as a shotgun than this in a buckshot mode. If you were to use this weapon though, the reason I would use this because of the complementary airburst. And the thing is, most people use it as a complementary skill or build. For me personally, I focused around it. And the reason why that is because this is one of the best mob clearing weapons out there, in like star map to like first level sorties, so to speak. And especially PoE. If you're bringing a weapon to PoE, you don't know what to focus on, you want something that's more utilitarian in every way possible, the Corinth is a really good investment for you. It carried me through the entire game. I started with the Heck and then I moved on to this and fell in love, and I still use it to this day for just about everything. So the airburst is great because you innately get blast damage. That means that when you fire it and it hits something and the radius is extremely large, it will go ahead and ragdoll them to the ground, and they are hard CC'd at that point. And you could use this in multiple different ways. You could keep groups clustered, and the way that I use this weapon normally is I would shoot alternate fire until I stop seeing numbers, because a lot of times you'll be firing this around corners, you'll be firing this up ledges, down stuff, and you might not see the enemy, but it will hit them. So I continually shoot it at the same spot until the numbers disappear. That means everything is dead. And the blast damage keeps them there. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's almost like a 1 second rhino stomp, right? It's really cool. And then you got viral and radiations, what I built for in this build here. And you notice that there's no crit mods in this because the crit chance and the crit multiplier in this is almost negligible. 4%, you can forget about it. The nice thing about the airburst though, unlike a regular shotgun build, you don't have to build to 100% elemental to get the maximum potential out of this weapon. 81%, somewhere around there, is absolutely fine. You're gonna proc all your stuff enough that you will basically get it to do what you want it to do. I focus less on status. You could get it up to the 90s, but there's no point in doing that. I rather maximize out with a couple of 90% mods to get the, I would say, distribution of damage that I like here. And so speaking of viral, if you guys don't know what it does, takes enemy's life in half, the max HP for a short amount of time, but if you air burst consecutively, it will do work. It basically cuts everything down in half. You're cutting their levels basically in half, you know. And then you got radiation, which is nice because let's say you don't kill what you're killing, it will go ahead and kill themselves because they will fight each other after they get up. So like this combination here is really good for CC in general, but radiation is great for PoE because it is geared toward high level Grineer. We're talking bombards, Hellions, things like that, napalms and the like. The only thing that you will have trouble with on this particular build is going to be heavy gunners because they're corrosive based. They're alloy armor versus ferrite armor. So with that said, I usually would pair this with a corrosive proccing secondary, like a high fire rate secondary with corrosive, or something that will deal with heavy gunners in general. But even at level 60, which is what the top end of bounties will be in PoE, we'll have nothing on this. So with that said, the one thing that I would say though is you do want any frame that could go ahead and add on corrosive projection, because whenever you're gearing toward a Grineer fight, this is almost mandatory, and if one person has it, great, 2 people even better, and so forth. And the lack of armor on these guys to just make them die even faster. If you have a full group of 4 people using corrosive projection, the airburst mode could do work. But with that said, let's go ahead and show you guys what this build usually does. So I set up here a bunch of tusk enemies, and these guys are what you normally find out in the plains, and they usually would spawn in a group. And the nice thing about this particular build is that you could go ahead and set it up to level 60 and watch what it does. So here we go. That's the 20-meter distance that I was talking about right there. So in 5 shots, everything's practically dead. Now, the heavy gunner, like I was saying, is the only thing that would probably survive that barrage. You could take it down literally with headshots with this at this level. 60, it's nothing. You could even go up to level 100s, and I'll show you guys again with the same clusters here. And you start to get a good gauge of the 20 meters, because that's really the prerequisite to using this weapon, is just understanding how far 20 meters out is. And there you go. That's a full mob right there. And I'm going to pause the AI too on this next one, just to show you guys per shot what kind of damage that it's doing. And like I said, this weapon here, I normally would fire right above their heads, and I'll do that. And after one shot, you notice that there's 2 procs on this guy, right? So radiation and viral is what you want. There's a radiation here, there's a radiation there, and a radiation there. So literally anything that did not die, of the 8, 4 of them, you know, disappeared right away in one shot. And these guys here that aren't, they will fight each other. So 2, 3, 4, you know, 4 shots. Like, they probably died in 3, but 4 shots, everything got cleared. And you got 1 bullet left to basically finish off the heavy gunner. So in one clip, literally everything died at level 60. So that's the beauty of this build. And if you were to, like, say, go ahead and do higher level content, and I'll show you that right after. So, well, actually I shouldn't have done that. What I was going to show you is, like, on these guys, even if you want to use them, you can shoot them individually in the head, and it does massive damage. So even in this mode in PoE, you could use it one of 2 ways, but the air burst, if you build specifically for it, allows you to clear multiple things faster. So what I'm going to show you is these guys here on level 100, which you would not find out in the plains, but it is a good show to see the power of this. Now at level 100, I will combo this once again with an AK stiletto with the corrosive build. So let me just go ahead and show you that really quick. Pretty standard stuff for the AK stiletto, just a high, you know, status chance with corrosive, and that would strip armor off of any heavy gunners that might be lingering around. And it's great for planes too. You can strip all the armor off of planes and have your team continually shoot down some of the planes, you know, in the PoE, and that just deals with them with their damage, because that's the only thing that really kills you out there. So I will pair it up with that, and we'll see how this goes. So usually with this setup here, I would go ahead and do like maybe 15 shots of the air burst. And that's what I was talking about right there. And they're gonna fight each other. Now in this time, I'm gonna switch over to AK stiletto, finish off the heavy gunner, go ahead and knock those 2 guys down, shoot, and everything's dead. That was level 100, easy peasy. And honestly speaking, if you just dodge the initial rockets that come at you, there'd be no problem. Now I'm gonna show you the other added benefit to this. Like I said, the radiation procs. So just for funsies, I'm gonna go simulate them again, but this time I'm gonna let them kill each other. So all of these things are now radiated, and you can see, like I said, they're not even gonna bother you at this point. So if you're keeping 20 meters away from them, you don't even have to fight them. They fight themselves. And all you have to do is just shoot one time, right? And then now you get to reassess what you want to do with your situation. And there they go. So, you know, as you scale up, this weapon here could literally be the crowd control that you're looking for on a frame that's survivable, but maybe not so much with skills to CC. But I would not do like say high level survival with this weapon. It's just to show the utilitarian nature of this weapon and why I like it so much. And if you build it for the air burst, you can literally do anything. So even at level 100, you know, it mows things down. It's not slow. And if you ever need a breather, just shoot the air burst and then get yourself some space, and then whenever you have a heavy gun or something like that, shoot them in the head and you're done. Now I usually don't use Inaros for stuff like this, but it's just easy to show with level 100 without pausing what it can do. I normally run melee with Inaros, but yeah, this build here, MR10 weapon, you could get it at the market. I mean, get the blueprint, build it right away. There's no reason not to. It's one of the best weapons in the game, in my opinion, for starters, because it could do everything. You could take it to sorties, you could take it to literally like PoE, you could take it to the index. I have an index specific build. I'll show this at another time, but yeah, you could take this weapon everywhere. The one thing I would say about this weapon is I have way more forma than this build needs. Right now I have 4 forma on my weapon for the index build, but you could get by with this build with just 2, because if I take out Blaze and Chilling Reload, there's 15 points, and these 2 only cost 14 combined. So even without the forma here, you will be able to use this build. So 2 forma, 1 V, 1 dash, and you're good to go. And even if you can't get it to that point, honestly speaking, you could lower some of these things, because if you don't have like say prime point blank and stuff like that, you can still use this build. You could lose a couple of pips here on these mods and you're fine too. It's just that if you do want to invest in the forma, do this first. And yeah, that's what I started with without prime point blank, and you could get by with just losing 1 pip on anything, and then you're good to go. So yeah, with that said, I really like this weapon and I hope you enjoyed this video. So I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care. Bye bye.